Okay, so we were discussing about the losses in pre-stress due to elastic shortening of concrete. So there was we solved one problem on pre-tensioned sleeper. So what was the loss of pre-stress? We calculated in the example last class. And then we also discussed the basic idea of the loss of pre-stress during successive post-tensioning of cables. So when the cable is being post-tensioned, the concrete is also being simultaneously compressed. Usually the cable being post-tensioned will not have any loss of pre-stress. However, there are other cables which have been post-tensioned. The concrete surrounding them will undergo compression, and as a result, the tension in those cables will reduce. So due to successive post-tensioning, we can have a loss of pre-stress. So I gave us that simple idea through just in terms of algebra. So in today's class, we'll do the loss of pre-stress during sequential post-tensioning of cables through an example. Okay, so what we have here, we have a post-tensioned member. We have this pre-stress. This is a concrete which has been laid, and there have been duct holes which have been made in the concrete. Okay, so there are 4 duct holes. Two duct holes are at level 100 millimeters from the soffit, that is the bottom of the beam, and another two duct holes are at 200 millimeters from the bottom of the beam. Okay, so what we are doing is we are inserting that in the cable one in the duct one, and then post tensioning that, and then we do the post tensioning of cable 2, then post tensioning of cable 3, and post tensioning of cable 4 in this sequence: cable 1, cable 2, cable 3, cable 4. So the diameter of the duct hose is 40 millimeters, and the cables are made up of 3 strands which are binded together, and diameter of one strand is 12.72. And for this diameter, there is a nominal area given, which is given. Okay, we don't have to calculate it from this diameter; it's already given. It's 98.7 millimeters square. So the strand is made up of bunch of wires. So we cannot say that diameter is area is pi by 4 into 12.72. It will be probably it is less than that. So that number is given as 98.7. So there are 3 strands. So the area of the cable will be 3 into 98.7. Okay. And what is also given is the hydraulic jack force which is applied in each strand is given as 128.6. Okay. And the cable. So we can find out what is the pre-stress in the cable. So that is P hat cable, which is 3 times P strand, which is coming around 385.6 kilonewton. Now we want M is given modular ratio, which is ratio of Young's modulus of steel by Young's modulus of concrete. It is 6. So if you do this kind of sequencing of the cables, this kind of sequence of post tensioning of the cables, then what is the loss in pre-stress? Okay, due to elastic shortening of concrete. So first cable 1 is pre-stressed, and for this problem, we will be using this is a post-tension member. Okay, so for post-tension members, we will work with the net section, that is the gross section properties. We will not do that effective section because the holes are already there, and the concrete is post-tensioned, and the end block, the force will be coming from the end block region. Okay, and we assume that probably there is no bond between these bond stress are not there between the concrete and the these bars. Okay, although they are grouted later during the after post tensioning. So we'll assume the cross section properties, and we have that concrete rectangular cross section with 4 duct holes. So we will split that cross section with 4 duct holes into 2 parts. One is the full concrete section, and from that we subtract the 4 duct holes located at those specific locations, YS1 and YS2. Okay. So we'll then we can sum up the, or we can find the area of this and subtract those areas, and similarly we can find out the neutral axis location and the moment of inertia about the neutral axis. Okay. So first thing is total concrete area we can find out, that is BH, and the area of the duct holes is 4 duct holes are there. 4 into diameter of the duct hole is 40. So we're getting around 174,976 millimeters square. So this is the net area of the concrete. Then we can find the neutral axis. So we will use our formula A1Y1 minus A2Y2 by A1 minus A2. Okay, because in subtraction you have to have A1 minus A2 or A net. Okay, so for this rectangular cross section, center of gravity is at h by 2, and for these four duct holes, level 1 is 100, level 2 is 200. So the centroid will lie at a distance of the average. So ys1 plus ys3 by 2, it is coming around 150. Okay, so centroid lies there, and we can find out the y neutral axis a1 y1 minus a2 y2 by a1 minus a2. So bh into h by 2 minus 4 a duct into yg2. So we're getting h square by 2, which is 600 square by 2 into 300. 4 into pi by 4 into 40 square into yg2 is 150, which we have calculated here. And a net is 174,976. So it is coming around 304.3 millimeters. So if you take the normal concrete, it's 100, it is at 150. H by 2 is 150. Oh, sorry. H is 600, so H by 2 is at 300. And because there are holes here below the centroid line, so the center of gravity has shifted it upward by 4.3 millimeters. Okay, so it is very negligible changes there in the moment of the centroid. Okay. So we can then find out what is the neutral axis moment of inertia about the neutral axis. So to find the moment of inertia, we sketch that neutral axis location, which is away from the centroid by about 4.3 millimeters, and we will find what is the moment of inertia of this cross section. It will be bh cube by 12, and parallel axis theorem, area into distance between neutral axis and the centroid. So bh into y neutral axis minus h by 2 square. So for this we get the moment of inertia about this neutral axis, and for those four concrete block areas, we will calculate the moment of inertia. So it will be 2 times area of duct hole into y neutral axis minus ys1, and minus 2 times area of duct hole into y neutral axis minus ys2. So we are calculating the distance from the centroid from the neutral axis. That is this distance and this distance, and we can find out that I neutral axis. So if you do those, plug in the numbers B300, H600, and neutral axis 304.3 minus 100, and area of duct pi by 4 into diameter square into y neutral axis minus ys1, and here y neutral axis minus ys2 whole square. So we're getting around 5271, 155, 347. So 5271.155 into 10 power 6 millimeter power 4. Okay. So we have found the cross section properties: neutral axis location, moment of inertia about the neutral axis, and the net area. What is the A net? Okay. So we have found those three properties. Now we can go ahead with the analysis for the sequence we adopt. So when cable 1 is post tension, so as a cable 1 is being post tension, the concrete is also being compressed simultaneously. So there is no loss in hydraulic jack force. So whatever hydraulic jack force is applied is also transferred to the concrete. So P hat 1 is equal to P subscript O1. Okay. Next we do the post tensioning of cable 2. So again, when you post tension the cable 2, the concrete itself will start compressing at the, and whatever hydraulic jack force is being applied on cable 2, that will be retained, and that will be P02 is equal to P02. However, what will happen is the cable 1, which has a pre-stress of P01, because the concrete is being compressed, there will be loss of strain in that steel during that compression. So additional compression in concrete at the level of cable 1, we have to find out due to P02. Okay. So if you look at the figure, these holes are not yet been the cables have not been put in holes 3 and 4, but cable 1 already has one hole where the duct hole 1 is already has cable 1, and duct hole 2 now it is pre-stressed with P02. Okay, so this will produce some compressive stress along the concrete surrounding this cable. That additional compression will result in loss. That additional compression will shrink the cable. Okay, and that results in a loss in tensile stress in the cable. Okay, so that we want to find. So we calculate sigma stress in the concrete in cable 1. Additional delta means additional compression produced in concrete at the concrete near the cable 1 due to the force post tension force from cable 2. So that is P02 by A net plus My by I. So M is P02 into this moment lever arm. So it will be P02 into E2. And distance of the cable concrete at the level 1 will be Y neutral axis minus YS1. Okay, so E2 value is Y neutral axis minus YS2, which is 304.3 minus 100, and it will be 204.3. So we can plug in the numbers. We have calculated P02, we have calculated the A net, and E2 we have calculated is 204.3, Y neutral axis 304.3, and YS1 is 100. So if we plug in the numbers, we are getting 2.2 plus 3, and it is getting around 5.255 Newton per millimeter square. So loss of stress in cable 1, when the cable 2 is being post tensioned, is this much, delta sigma S1 comma 2, and that will be M times the compressive stress produced, additional compressive stress produced in cable 1 due to application of the post tension in cable 2. So we multiply M into 5.255, you will getting around 31.53 Newton per millimeter square. Okay. So yeah, so we have these two cables are now post tension. Now we will put the cable 3 and do the post tensioning. So when cable 3 is being post tensioned, what will happen? Cable 3 will not lose any pre-stress because simultaneous compression is occurring in concrete, and hydraulic jack force, whatever is applied, is retained in cable 3. But 1 and 2, there will be some additional compression being produced due to the pre-stressing force from cable 3, and we'll find out what is that additional compressive force. So we can find out what is the loss of pre-stress by calculating the area of the cable times that loss of strain, loss of stress. That's coming around 9.33. Yeah. So we'll come to the cable 3. Okay, cable 3 is post tension. So there is no loss of pre-stress in cable 3. So whatever hydraulic jack force is applied, that is retained after transfer. So it is coming around 385.8 kilonewton. So if you look at that beam, we have the neutral axis, we have this cable 3, and we have cable 1 and 2 located at YS1. So if you look at that cross section, 1 and 2 is housing cable duct 1 and duct 2 are housing cable 1 and cable 2. And now duct 3, we have put that cable 3 and we are post tensioning it. So that post tension force is P03. So the eccentricity of this cable is E3 with respect to the neutral axis. So this force will produce some compression along this cable. Okay, there will be some along the concrete surrounding the cable. There will be some compressive force, additional compressive force, which is produced, and that will result in shrinking of the concrete, and correspondingly the steel which is also along with the concrete will shrink. Okay, so that will reduce in length. So we can find out what is that additional compressive force, and then we can find out what is the loss of pre-stress. So eccentricity is 30 Y neutral axis minus YS3 of this cable. So 304 minus 200 is coming out 104. And then YS1, YS2 both are equal 100 millimeters from the bottom of the beam. So additional compressive stress in concrete at the level of cable 1 or cable 2 due to this P03 is we will have this term. So delta represents additional compression, sigma additional compressive stress in concrete at level 1 due to post tensioning of cable 3. So that will be P03 by A plus P03 the My by I. So why it is M is P03 into this lever arm, which is E3. So P0 M is this value, and we have Y neutral axis minus YS1, that is distance of the steel fiber 1 from the neutral axis. So that is YNA minus YS1. So this if you substitute the values, so this term we have already calculated is 2.2, and we have P03 385.8 kilonewton, so multiply with 10 power 3 Newton, and E3 is 104.3, and Y neutral axis 304.3 minus 100 by that number I neutral axis. So we are getting around 2.2 plus this value 1.56, so we are getting around 3.76. And similarly, the additional compression in concrete at the steel level 2 due to the post tensioning of cable 3 is also same, it is 3.76. So we can find out what is the loss of pre-stress in cable 1. So it will be modular ratio times the additional compressive stress, delta sigma SC13. So 6 into 3.76 is coming around 22.56. And similarly, the loss of pre-stress in cable 2 will be equal 22.56. and we can get the loss of pre-stress force. We multiply this loss of pre-stress with the area of the cable. Area is 3 times the strand, so 3 into 98.7 into that 20.56. We are getting around. We get this value in Newton. We divide by 1000. We get kilonewton, 6.68 kilonewton. Similarly, delta P23 is also 6.68 kilonewton. So we are done with cable 3. Now we go with post tensioning of cable 2, cable 4. So again we have that beam. We have the beam span, and we have the cable 1, cable 2 here at level 1, and cable 3 is there. Now we have put cable 4. So we have housed the cable 4 into the duct hole 4, and we are post tensioning that. So during the post tensioning process, the hydraulic jack force, whatever is being applied on cable 4, will be retained, and we will have P04 is P04. So we're getting around 385.8. So there is no loss of pressure in cable 4. However, cable 3 will concrete near this cable will undergo compression, and then there is a decrease in the decrease in the tensile strain in the cable there. Similarly, there is decrease in tensile strain in cables 1 and 2. So we will find out that. So if you compare with the previous calculation, the same calculation will repeat for loss of stress in cable 1 and cable 2. So because cable 3 and cable 4 are the same levels, so when you pre-stress with that P04, the cable 1, cable 2 will respond in the same way as when cable 3 was pre-stressed. Okay, so we had loss of pre-stress in cable, pre-stress force in cable 1 due to post tensioning of cable 4 is same value. We have calculated 6.68 kilonewton. Similarly, for loss of pre-stress force in cable 2, here subscript is 4. I made an error here. It's subscript 4. It will be 6.68 kilonewton. However, if you want to find what is the loss of pre-stress in cable 3, here eccentricity of the cable is E4, and the distance of this cable 3 from the neutral axis will be y neutral axis minus ys3. So there is a small change. So we'll find out that. So eccentricity of the cable is cable 4 is same 104.3, and distance of the cable 3 from the soffit is 200. So the additional compressive stress in the concrete near cable 3 due to the post tensioning of cable 4 is P04 by area plus my by a, my by I. So it is my is P04 into E4, and y value is y neutral axis minus ys3. So we will get this term 2.2, and here E4 is 104.3, and here it will be little different. Previously ys1 and ys2 were 100, now it is ys3 is 200. So we'll get 304.3 minus 200. So if you substitute it, we are getting around 0.796, and this value is 2.996. So from this we can calculate what is the loss of stress in pre-stress in cable 3. So it will be modular ratio times this additional compressive stress in cable 3. So we're getting around 17.976. So we can get the loss of pre-stress force in cable 3 due to post tensioning of cable 4. So area of the cable into that delta sigma is 34. We are getting 3 into 98.7 into 17.976, which is coming around 5.33. Okay, so we have found out the success after success. We have analyzed the scenarios for the successive tensioning of post tensioning of the cables 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can find out the total loss. If you sum up all the individual things, we'll get the total loss in pre-stress in force. So delta P12, so pre-stress loss in cable 1 due to post tensioning cable 2. Delta P13, that means pre-stress loss in cable 1 due to post tensioning cable 3. And delta P14, pre-stressing loss in cable 1 due to post tensioning of cable 4. Similarly, delta P23 and delta P24 and delta P3 comma 4. So that is pre-stress loss in cable 3 due to post tensioning of cable 4. Okay, so we can add it up. So this value is 9.33, and this 13142324, all our 4 values are same, which is 6.68. So we'll multiply 4 into 6.68, and P34 we have just calculated it. It is coming around 5.33. So we sum up all this, we get around 48.38 kilonewton. So we can find out what is the percentage loss of pre-stressing force. So it will be delta loss, delta P, which is 14.38, and total force was four cables are there, and the forces which were applied was 385.8. So we multiply we can calculate the percentage loss by multiplying with 100. We are getting around 2.68. Okay, so if you apply 100 kilonewton, then what is retained is 98 kilonewton by this successive tensioning of cables. Okay, so yeah, so this is regarding this successive post tensioning of the cables. So here, what is happening here? Is we have constant eccentricity. So the cable is perfectly straight throughout the cross section. There can be scenarios where the cable can take a different shape. It can be a parabola, or it can be a two straight lines, sloping lines, two sloping lines. So in that scenario, how to do the analysis? Okay, so that analysis will do in the next example. This analysis is for pure like constant eccentricities. So we'll find out how to do the analysis for eccentricities which vary along the cross section. Okay, so that we'll do now. I'll take a small break and come back. Okay, so let's do the problem for cables which have varying eccentricities, and what will happen, what is the loss in, how to calculate the loss in pre-stress due to successive sequential post tensioning of the cables. So here again we have a beam with same rectangular cross section. Cable 1, cable 2 are straight, and they are located 100 millimeters from the bottom of the beam. Cable 3, cable 4 have parabolic profile. Okay, and their positions are like this. At the center, it is 200 millimeters from the bottom, and at the ends, it is 100 millimeters from the top. Okay, and the sequencing of post tensioning is cable 1 followed by cable 2, cable 3, and cable 4. So we can sketch this information in this figure. So we have our beam with the neutral axis. This line represents both cable 1 and cable 2, located at 100 millimeters from the bottom of the beam. It's a constant, it's a straight cable. Eccentricity is constant. Eccentricity will be h by 2 minus this value, which is around 200 millimeters. For cable 3 and 4, they're placed in a parabolic fashion. So at the midspan, they're located at 200 millimeters from the bottom, and at the edges here, left edge and the right edge, they're located at 100 millimeters from the below the top. Okay, so this distance is 100 millimeters. So we can cut a section here at the midspan and look at the look at that section here. So we have those 4 cables, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1 and 2 are located 100 millimeters from the bottom, 3 and 4 200 millimeters from the bottom. And at the end span, the cross section will look something like this. So yeah, 1 and 2 at same location, 100 millimeters from the bottom, and 3 and 4 are at 100 millimeters from the top. Okay, so we can find out what is the level of steel 3 and steel 4 in the end cross section. So that will be total height minus 100, so it will be 500. Okay, so I'm just indicating that by ys2 prime, and here it will be ys1 prime is same as ys1 here, which is 100. So the first step will be we'll have to calculate the section properties, area section properties. So for this section, we have already done the calculation. So we found out A net, we found out the y neutral axis location and the I moment of inertia about the neutral axis. So those values I'm just copying down from the previous example and writing down here. 174, 976, 304.3 and 5271 into 10 power 6. And for this section, it is a symmetric cross section. Okay, so 3 by 4 are 100 from the above and 1, 2 duct holes are 100 millimeters from below. Okay, so from the bottom it is 100 millimeters. So this is a it's a symmetric cross section. So the centroid will now lie at h by 2. So area of the net area will be same because we have to remove that whole duct hole area, so it will be same. But neutral axis is now 300 millimeters. So there is a small change from 304.3. It is small. It is going to 300. Okay, and what about the neutral axis? Moment of inertia about the neutral axis. So we can find that out. So it will be bh cube by 12 about the neutral axis minus 2 times area of these duct holes into distance of the duct holes on the neutral axis. Okay, so bh cube by 12, 2 times area of the duct hole into distance ys1 minus y neutral axis square and ys2 prime minus y neutral axis square. So that is coming around, if you substitute those values, we are getting around 5199 into 10 power 6. So earlier value was 5271 and now it is 5199. So what is the difference in the neutral axis, moment of inertia from the mid-section span and the end section span? So the difference is 5199 minus 5271 by 5271, it is coming around minus 0.137. So minus 1.37% difference. So there is a very small change in the neutral axis, moment of inertia with the neutral axis. Okay, so for this problem, for this example, without making things complicated, like we don't want to have a function for I neutral axis along this. We just assume that whatever neutral axis value, moment of inertia value you are getting here, the same moment of inertia value will use here also. Okay, because if you want to complicate the problem, you can do it, but there will be very small changes only because the difference is hardly 1.37. So for ease in computation, we use the moment of inertia calculated at the midsection level. Same for the end sections also, we'll use the same moment of inertia. That value will take as 5271 into 10 power 6. Okay, if you want to do more accurately, you can do that, but for you will not have much changes because the difference is 1.37%. Okay, so we have found the section properties for the mid span and the end span. And effectively, we are saying that we are keeping the same section properties. So we can use the same neutral axis here. Instead of we have 304.3, we can use again here 304.3 without affecting the answers very much. Okay, there will be negligible changes in the answers. So the same effective section properties we can use. Whatever effective section properties are here, same thing we can use there also for this while doing the calculations. Okay, so I think you can stick to this section properties and use them. And let's do the analysis. So first step is post-tensioning of cable 1. So when you're post-tensioning the cable 1, then hydraulic jack force will be retained. There is no loss of pre-stress and we'll get same value 385.8. Okay. And when you post-tension cable 2, again we can do the same thing. Cable 1 is straight, so we don't have to, there is no varying eccentricity here. But just to introduce the idea of varying eccentricity, I'm just rewriting that equation in a different way. So just loss of pre-stress in cable 1 due to P02. So what you're interested is what is the compressive stress profile in the concrete adjacent to the steel along cable 1. Okay, so we have our cable 1 here. So let's say assume this is there is a cable 1 and 2, both are represented by the same line. So what is happening is, let's assume that this is a cable 1 you're looking. So let's assume that you are looking at this cable 1. So there is concrete along this cable 1. Okay, and the concrete along the cable 1 will have some compressive stress. Okay, we want to find what is that compressive stress in the concrete along cable 1 as a function of x. Okay, so that is what we want to find what is the compressive stress profile in concrete adjacent to steel, adjacent to cable 1. Okay, in steel along cable 1, just adjacent in concrete adjacent to cable 1. Okay, so that we represent it like this: sigma in concrete adjacent to cable 1 due to positioning of cable 2 is x, and here we have P02 by A, and here moment P02 into E2, and here just what we do is I will introduce, instead of E2 I'll put E2 of x. That is the moment. If E2 varies, then moment also will vary. Post tensioning from cable 2 will produce different moments if eccentricity is different. Okay, but here eccentricity is constant. So just for general, I'm introducing a general equation. So P02 into E2 of x. So this is the moment produced by the cable 2, and distance y will be distance from the neutral axis. So y neutral axis minus ys1, and here although ys1 is constant, I'm just putting x, ys1 of x. That means what I'm intending to say is that ys1 can vary with x. For this case, ys1 is constant, but we can change. It can vary for the further cases. It might vary. It will vary. So let's introduce this general expression for compressive stress profile along cable 1 due to post tensioning of cable 2. Okay, so this is what is happening here. And for this problem, what will happen is E2 for this case, E2 of x is constant, and that is E naught, E2 naught. So E2 naught is y neutral axis minus ys2. It will be 304.3 minus 100 and 204.3. So that means what is happening is, due to post tensioning of cable 2, there is a uniform moment produced along this x direction, means uniform moment at any cross section due to this P02 E2. And what is the distance of y, distance y from the neutral axis? That is again constant here. So y neutral axis minus ys naught, it is again 204.3. So this is what we have: P02 by A naught, P02 into E2 by I neutral axis into y neutral axis minus y naught s1. So this was what we did in the previous example. Okay, and we'll get the same answer, 5.255. That is the stress in compressive stress in cable 1, in concrete surrounding cable 1 due to post tensioning of cable 2. So that is a constant. Sigma S12 of x is a constant value. So the average also will be same. Okay, and we can find out the total loss of stress, and that will be m times that value, 5.255. We're getting 31.53. Okay, so there's no change here. However, when you do the post tensioning of cable 3, so here the cable 3 is not straight. It is having a parabolic profile. So when you have a parabolic profile, at any cross section, we can find the eccentricity of that cable with respect to the neutral axis, and that eccentricity is E3 of x. Okay, and first of all, what will happen is that cable 3 will not have hydraulic drag force will be retained in cable 3. So P03 is P03, and here there is loss of pre-stress in cable 1 and cable 2. So we have to find that out. So the eccentricity E3 of x is now a function. Okay, E3 is not constant. E3 of x is not constant. It is varying along this cross section. So at the left edge and the right edge, it is a negative value. Okay, it is the point is lying above the neutral axis here, and between this point and this point, it is lying below the neutral axis. Is a positive value here. So if you look carefully, between this point and this point, when the cable is lying below the neutral axis, the pre-stressing force will produce a compressive force. Okay, compressive force below the neutral axis. So when this cable is lying below the neutral axis, at this steel level, at the level of the concrete, at the level of cable 1 and cable 2, this pre-stressing force will produce a compressive force. And when the cable passes through the neutral axis and goes above it, and from this pre-stressing force will produce a tensile force. Okay, in the concrete at this level 1 and level 2. Okay, so between these 2 points, there will be a compressive force due to the pre-stressing force, And between these 2 points, from here to here, that is, if you draw a line, vertical line between here to here, there will be a tensile force which is produced by the cable. Okay, tensile force means only part of it is tensile, remaining is compression. Okay, whatever bending moment is there, that bending moment will produce a compressive force between here to here, and the remaining bending moment will produce a tensile force. So we have to look carefully into that. So first of all, we'll look at that mid cross section here. So we have cable 1, cable 2 already present. Cable 3 is now post tension. And here at the end cross section, we have cable 1, cable 2, and we have that cable 3, which is post tension. So eccentricity of cable 3 at the mid cross section is plus 104.3. So 304.3 minus 200, which is 104.3. And here eccentricity at the end, it is total height is 500 minus what is it? This distance is what? This is 100, and this distance is I'm sorry, 500 minus yeah, this distance is h by 2 is 300. 300 minus 100 is 200. So eccentricity is minus 200. I think here I made a small error here. So is it error or I think it's okay. The ys3 prime is 500, and height h by neutral axis location is 300. So 500 minus 300, it's 200. So it is minus 200. Okay. So the eccentricity is negative here. It is lying the cable is lying above the neutral axis. So first of all, what we have to do is we have to find what is E3 of x as a function of x. Okay, we have to find that expression. So to find that equation, let's assume some things here. So here we are having eccentricity at edges E0 3a, eccentricity at the center, that is E0 3b. So what is the shape of this parabola? What is the equation for this parabola? So it will be this rectangle plus this parabola. So the height of this parabola is E03b minus E03a. So that equation for this parabola will be E03a plus E03b minus E03a into 4x by L into 1 minus x by L. So at x is equal to 0, it will be E03a. X is equal to L, also 1 by x minus x by L will go to 0. So again it will be E03a. And at the center, you will have 4 into 1 by 2 into 1 minus 1 by 2. 4 into 1 by 2 into 1 by 2, it will be 1. And we will be left with E03b minus E03a plus E03a. So we can cancel it, we will get E03b. So the boundary conditions are matching. So this equation represents the equation of this parabola. Okay. And if E03a is 0, then this term will go to 0, this term will go to 0. So we are left with E03b into 4x by L into 1 minus x by L. So we're getting the equation of this parabola, which is okay. I think last class we discussed, which is Emax into 4x by L into 1 minus x by L. So it is okay. Emax is here, E03b. And suppose if E03a is negative, say it is minus 200, instead of we'll just substitute minus of minus, it will become plus 300, plus 200. So the equation of this parabola will be, so at the ends it is minus 200, and at the center the eccentricity is 104.3. So we substitute those values here. So 104.3 minus of minus plus 200 into 4x by L into 1 minus x by L, and here E03 is minus 200, so we'll put minus 200. So that is the equation for this for the E3 of x. And now we can find out what is the compressive stress profile in concrete adjacent to cable 1. So that is varying, that's a function of x. So compressive stress in concrete adjacent to cable 1 due to post tension of cable 3. So it will be P0 by A net, and this moment, this is a bending moment, and this bending moment is varying because eccentricity is varying here. So we have E3 of x, the equation is here, and YNA minus YS1 is since the cable 1 is straight, so this value will be constant. So we can substitute the values. So for the E3 of x, we can write the function, which is 304.3 into 4x by L into 1 minus x by L minus 200, and YNA is 304.3 and YS1 is 100. So this is a constant value. Now we want to find what is the average compressive stress in the concrete adjacent to cable 1. So that average value, we do the integration with respect to dx. We'll integrate this, and then divide by the length. So what will happen? This is if you integrate this value, we get P naught L by A net by L. So again, we'll be left with P naught by A net. And here we have to do the integrations. So P naught by I neutral axis, and here we have 304.3, which is minus 100, which is 204.3, and we have to integrate this entire expression. So what is the integral of this 4x by L into 1 minus x by L 0 to L? It is 2 by 3. Yeah, this expression is 2 by 3. So it will be 2 by 3 into 304.3 minus 200. Okay, 4x by L into 1 minus x by L is 2 by 3. And yeah, so let's do that integration here. So what we are doing is we are integrating E3 of x. Yn is constant, we are integrating E3 of x. So that is what I'm doing. So if you integrate E3 of x dx by L, we are getting that equation for E3 of x, and x square by 2 minus x square will be x cube by 3. So 4 by L square into x square by 2 minus x cube by 3L. So it will be 1 by 2, L square by 2 minus L square by 3. So L square by 6. So 4 by L square into L square by 6 is 2 by 3. So we are getting 2 by 3 into this value. And E03 is there. So this expression is 104.3 minus or minus 200. So it will be 304.3, and E03 is minus 200. So we're getting around 2.867. So this is the average eccentricity of this cable. Average eccentricity, yeah, you can say it is the average eccentricity. Yeah, it's 2.867. So we have found this integral. We have found this value that is coming around 2.867. Okay, and we can substitute it in this expression. So P naught by A plus P naught into that E average into y neutral axis minus ys1 by I. So it's coming around 2.248. Similarly, this is the loss of stress in cable 1 due to the post tensioning of cable 3. Cable 3 is parabolic profile, cable 1 is straight profile. So what was happening was YNA minus YS1 is same, but E3 of x was changing. So we had used an equation for that, and then we did the integration. So we can also find what is the loss of pre-stress in cable 2 due to post tensioning of cable 3, which is same, because 1 and 2 are having same location from the bottom of the beam. So it is coming around 2.248 Newton per millimeter square. And we can find out what is the loss of pre-stress in cable 1 due to post tensioning of cable 3, which is m times modular ratio times that average compressive stress. It is coming around 6 into 2.248 is 13.488. Similarly, loss of pre-stress in cable 2 due to post tension cable 3 is 13.488. Okay. Now comes the other part. Final last cable is being post tension. So that cable will not have any loss of pre-stress. So that hydrogen force will be retained. So P04 is P04. And loss of stress in pre-stress in cable 1 and 2, we'll do the same analysis like for cable 3, because cable 3 profile is matching with the cable 4. So loss of pre-stress in cable 1 due to post tension cable 4 is same, 13.488. And similarly for cable 2 also it is same, 13.488. However, for cable 3 it gets tricky. Why it is tricky? Because cable 3 also is a parabola. So there are two parabolas interacting. So let's look at that. So we have cable 3, which is a parabola, and cable 4, which is also a parabola. Okay. So eccentricity of cable 4 is this one, which is same like eccentricity of cable 3. Same equation is there. This value is 104.3, and this value is minus 200, and yeah, this value is minus 200. So how to get that? What is the average compressive stress along cable 3 due to post tensioning of cable 4? So that equation is here. Average compressive stress in cable 3 due to post tensioning of cable 4. So P04 by AN, and P04 into E4 of x. That is a bending moment produced by I neutral axis into y neutral axis minus ys3. So here we can do a simplification. I didn't do here. Means in the further analysis I didn't do the simplification. But if you look carefully here, y neutral axis minus ys3 is being given, right? So distance of the neutral axis from the bottom of the beam, that is y neutral axis. So this distance is y neutral axis, and ys3 is distance of the cable from the bottom of the beam. So this distance is ys3. So when you say y neutral axis minus ys3, for this case, at least for the end section, the y neutral axis coincides with the centroid h by 2. Here it is 304.3. Y neutral axis is little above the centroid, and here it is at the centroid. So we can say we can keep y neutral axis to be equal to h by 2. Okay, or can you do what else we can do? Yeah, y neutral axis minus ys3. Yeah, I think this value is actually e4 of x, e3 of x, right? Distance of the neutral axis from the steel fiber, it is e4 of e3 of x, and e3 of x is same as e4 of x. Okay, so this entire thing we can write it as p04 by neutral axis into e4 of x into e3 of x, which is e4 of x square. So if you want to find the average, we have to find this. We'll find integral 0 to L e4 of x square dx by L. Okay, so that we can do. I did some extra calculation which was not required. If you look here, y neutral axis minus ys3 is e4 of x. Okay, and we just have to take the average. So average value is integral sigma dx by L. So this term will be p04 by an, and this term will be p04 by neutral axis integral 0 to this by L. Okay, so that integral is shown here. We have to find this e4 of x square dx by L, and we have to do the integration for this. I couldn't complete it on time, so probably we can discuss this in the next class. Okay, so or you can do it at home, this exercise, and we can find out what is the average compressive stress around cable 3, and we multiply with m value, you get the loss of pre-stress in cable 3. So then we can find the pre-stress force.